The graph of quadratic function.
Module 2, Quadratic Function. What is it? In this video, we're going to learn the graph of quadratic function. First, let us describe the quadratic function based on the equation. And after that, we are going to draw the graph of quadratic function. Opening of the parabola. It is upward if a is greater than 0 and downward if a is less than 0. The vertex of the parabola with coordinates hk is the turning point of the parabola, and it is minimum point if parabola opens upward, and we can say the vertex is a maximum point if parabola opens downward. Maximum or minimum value is based on the value of k. If the vertex is a maximum point, then the value of k is the maximum value. And if the vertex is a minimum point, then the value of k is the minimum value. The domain of the quadratic function is the set of all real numbers. And the range depends on whether the parabola opens upward or downward. So it is y greater than or equal to k, or y less than or equal to k. It is y greater than or equal to k if a is positive, and it is y less than or equal to k if a is negative. Next is axis of symmetry. It is a line that divides the parabola into two equal parts. The axis of symmetry is denoted by x equals h, where h is the abscissa of the vertex. Next is the x-intercept. It is the point where the graph passes through the x-axis. To solve the x-intercept, replace y by 0, then solve for x. And then we have also the y-intercept. It is the point where the graph passes through the y-axis. To solve the y-intercept, replace x by 0 and solve for y. To better understand the description of the graph of quadratic function, consider this example 1, y equals x squared minus 2x minus 15. Change the equation in standard form. So I'm going to use the completing the square method. Y equals, group the terms with x variable, so x squared minus 2x, and then outside the parentheses minus 15. Y equals, get the numerical coefficient of x, which is negative 2. Divide this negative 2 by 2. So we will have negative 2 divided by 2 and then square it. So negative 1 squared is equal to positive 1. This positive 1 will be added inside the parentheses and subtracted outside the parentheses. So the equation will be now y equals the quantity of x squared minus 2x plus 1, and then outside the parentheses minus 15 minus 1. There you have it. Then y equals, change the PST into square of binomial, so that will become the quantity of x minus 1 squared, and then simplify the expression outside the parentheses. Negative 15 minus 1 is negative 16. So this is already the standard form or the vertex form. Let us now describe the graph of quadratic function y equals x squared minus 2x minus 15. The opening of the parabola is upward because the value of a is greater than 0 or positive. the vertex is at 1, negative 16. And we can say that the vertex is a minimum point because the opening is upward, so the vertex is the minimum point. And this value of k, which is negative 16, is the minimum value. Next, the domain is set of all real numbers. Always remember, in any quadratic function, the domain is always set of all real numbers. And for the range, that is y greater than or equal to the value of k, which is negative 16. Y greater than or equal to negative 16 because the opening of the parabola is upward. And for the axis of symmetry, that is x equals 1. So it is an equation, so x equals h, and the value of h is 1, so x equals 1. Solving for x-intercept, replace y by 0. So x squared minus 2x minus 15 is equal to 0. And then we can use factoring method in here to solve for x. So x times x, and then negative 5 times positive 3. So x minus 5 is equal to 0. So x sub 1 is equal to 5. And x plus 3 is equal to 0. So x sub 2 is equal to negative 3. These are now the x-intercepts or the zeros of the parabola. And you can also use completing the square method, quadratic formula, or extracting the square root. So next is y-intercept. Replace x by 0. So y is equal to 0 squared minus 2 times 0 minus 15. So y is equal to negative 15. And as you notice, yung y-intercept is the same as the value of c when written in general form. To draw the graph of quadratic function, let us make a table of values. So make sure the vertex is at the center. So 1, negative 16. Next to 1 in the x values is 2. So replace x by 2 to solve for y. Y is equal to 2 squared minus 2 times 2 minus 15. So y is equal to 2 squared is 4 minus 2 times 2 is 4 minus 15. Then y is equal to 4 minus 4 is 0 minus 15 is negative 15. So negative 15. Then next is value of x is 3. So y is equal to 3 squared minus 2 times 3 minus 15. So y is equal to 3 squared is 9 minus 2 times 3 is 6 minus 15. So y is equal to 9 minus 6 is 3 minus 15 is negative 12. So negative 12. Since yung parabola is symmetrical, yung sa left ng vertex is the same lang dun sa right ng vertex. So next to 1, to the left of the vertex is 0. And then negative 1. So 0, the y value is also negative 15. And for negative 1, the y value is also negative 12. So let us now have the graph. So to draw the graph, just plot these points in the Cartesian plane. So this is already the parabola. You can see here the vertex at the center, at the middle. So the vertex is at point 1, negative 16. And then if we're going to illustrate where is the axis of symmetry, the axis of symmetry is a line that will be passing through the vertex. So this axis of symmetry will divide the parabola into two equal parts. So the axis of symmetry is x equals 1. And then if you observe, the opening is upward. And also, the a vertex is a minimum point in here. And we can say that the domain is set of all real numbers because if you notice, as we extend the parabola, the opening becomes wider. So, ang sakop niya sa x-axis ay infinite or continuous. So, all set of all real numbers. And then, for the range naman, yung range is starting doon sa value ng k which is -16 pataas. So, kasi pag sinabing range, set of all values of y. So, from -16 pataas na. Kaya y is greater than or equal to -16. So, there you have it, the graph of quadratic function. By the way, yung x-intercept is the zeros of the parabola. Hindi lang po kita dito sa graph, but if we're going to extend the graph upward, magdadaan siya or magkakross siya sa x-axis, kung saan it will pass through the 5 doon sa value ng x na 5 at sa value na -3. So, yun po yung x-intercept. And for the y-intercept, we have here 0, -15, nag-cross yung parabola at point 0, -15. So, this is the graph of quadratic function. For example number 2, try this in your notebook. Describe the graph of quadratic function y equals -2 times the quantity of x plus 1 squared plus 3. Again, when we say describe the graph, you're going to give the opening, the vertex, the domain, the range, the axis of symmetry, x-intercept, and y-intercept. And then after that, draw the graph or the parabola. And that's all for this lesson.